Hello boys and girls, and welcome to my player ratings for last night's victory against Olympiacos in the Europa League. And yeah, it feels good waking up, still undefeated in 2020, and 3 points in the bag, an away goal, and all in our hands going into the second leg next week. Now this is not an easy place to go. Olympiacos was never going to be an easy tie over there in Greece. It's as simple as that. You can compare the Greek league to the Premier League and everything else and say that Arsenal should be winning, but it doesn't work like that within football. It's a difficult place to go. Not many teams stop Olympiacos from scoring on their own patch. You know, Spurs went out there in the Champions League this season and they drew that game 2-2. It's a difficult place to go. A lot of English teams have gone there and struggled, you know, so it was nice for us to go over there, put in a performance, not the greatest of performances, let's be honest, but we dug in and we dug out a result. That is what is all important. I don't care if we play crap, but we win games. You know, it doesn't bother me too much if certain players might play poorly for 89 minutes. If for 1 minute of that game they go and score a winning goal, then what can you moan about? You know, you can evaluate their performances and say that certain things were not right, etc., etc. But you can't be angry about it because we've gone away from home in Europe, kept a clean sheet and scored an away goal. What more do you want from a European performance? If anything, we could have walked away from that game 2 or 3. You know, for all the chances that Olympiacos had in the first half, or the first 10 minutes especially, we had chances as well. In the last 10 minutes, after we scored, Lacazette should have scored. You know, Sokratis hit the bar. We could have been walking away from there already, you know, comfortable and thinking that we're in the quarterfinals. It's that simple. You know, performances itself, the players, strong lineup, and we got the job done. And that is what I'm most happy about. So with that said, let's go and get into the player ratings. Starting off in goal, Leno. Massive shock to see him start in this game, given the fact that we do normally play the second goalkeeper for the cup competitions. But Mikel Arteta has obviously looked at it and said, no, I'm going with my strongest goalkeeper. And I'll tell you something, this guy is so underrated. One of the best in the Premier League. He was my man of the match last night. He was absolutely superb. There was a save he made in the first half where David Luiz nearly scored an own goal. The reaction to stop that in the second half. One of the only chances that Olympiacos had. What a save. He didn't know it was offside. Point blank. Reactionary save. Superb. Leno for me, he gets a 9 for his performance. He was absolutely immense. Going to move to the defence first of all on the right hand side, Sokratis, and I don't really like him out on that right hand side. I would rather Mustafi go out on that right hand side, given the fact that, you know, he's played out there for Germany and he's a little bit more comfortable. I feel that Olympiacos targeted that side. Valbuena especially went out there and was whipping in crosses and was causing Sokratis all kinds of problems. I don't think it was a great performance. Work rate, you can't ever fault that with Sokratis, but overall it wasn't great, and I'll give Sokratis a 6. In the centre of defence, first of all, Mustafi, and I think that he was the best of the two. He was absolutely immense and he was solid. And I'm really starting to, you know, take notice of his performances, and he's really making a lot of us, including myself, eat our words. He was absolutely superb, like I said. And for last night, I will give Mustafi an 8. Alongside him, David Luiz, another solid performance, very good, very commanding. Not as good as Mustafi, but overall, very solid. Nearly scored that own goal in the first half, but there was not much he could do. If there's one thing about his game I want him to do is stay away from free kicks. He does these free kicks, and I know every now and then he's going to hit one that may fly into the top corner, but the majority of them fly into the stands. But yeah, listen, he's there to do a job defensively, and that's all we care about. So I'll give David Luiz a 7 for last night. In the left back position, we have the young lad Saka. Again, I think this was a Strange one starting him. I thought that Kolasinac may well have got the run out last night, but Saka started, and yeah, I'm glad he played. Another good performance. First half especially was trying to get into key areas and trying to create things. It wasn't really happening. And then he got the all-important assist, 9th for the season. Good performance. A lot of people will say that he was man of the match, but for me it was Leno, not Saka. But that doesn't take away his performance. It was a good one, and I will give him an 8. Moving into the midfield, first of all, Granit Xhaka. And he doesn't look the same player when he hasn't got the likes of Torreira and that next to him. Still a good performance, still solid, still done what he needed to do. Picked up a needless yellow card. That bit annoyed me because, you know, he punched the ball away a bit petulantly. And yeah, you just hope that that doesn't come back to haunt him later on in the rounds and he gets suspended for a game, because you'll look at that yellow card and say it was totally needless. But decent enough performance, but I don't want to see Guendouzi next to him. I don't think that works. So I will give Granit Xhaka a 7. Next up, we have Guendouzi. And that performance infuriates me because it's just not a good performance, in my opinion. It's just so slow on the ball and, you know, rolling around all the time and trying to get these fouls and everything else. And I don't know, man. I just think that, you know, he needs to go back to the drawing board with a couple of things. There's no doubt the potential and there's no doubt the ability and everything else. But in that area, I just feel that the player needs to be very quick on the ball. He needs to win the ball and distribute it. Let the players in front of you, the attacking players, do the damage. You know, I just feel that he holds on to the ball too much for me. Guendouzi, he will get a 6. Going to move to the attacking areas. First of all, on the right-hand side, it was Aubameyang, and he does not like that right-hand side, and neither do I. And I don't think there's many Arsenal fans that like to see him out there either, because it don't work. He looked very frustrated. Shoulders looked like they were dropping in the second half, and you know, you probably couldn't have blamed Arteta if he took him off because he wasn't playing well at all. But once he moved to that left-hand side in the last 15, my word, he changed into a different player. He was enjoying himself, getting on the ball, looked confident, looked lively. But overall, it wasn't a great day. I felt that, you know, Olympiacos were exploiting those areas. Aubameyang doesn't really like to track back. And like I said, Valbuena was causing problems with his crosses. Last night, I will give Aubameyang a 6 for his performance. On the left-hand side, we had Martinelli, and that was one of his poorer performances, shall we say. Never really got going, never really got into the game, to be honest. And yeah, that was one of his quieter ones. And I think that's the best that we can say about that. So I'll give Martinelli a 6. Next up, in the middle of that 3, we had Joe Willock. And again, I don't think this was a great performance. I can't fault his work rate and everything else. But it's holding on to the ball, and I've had this conversation so many times on these videos, previews and player ratings, and I talk about how many times he holds on to the ball when he should be releasing it. He needs to sort that side of his game out, because the way we play, the front players, you know, when Oba's running off or Lacazette up front, whoever's, you know, in those advanced areas, they expect the ball to be quicker and they expect the ball to be released, and you can see the frustration when he doesn't release the ball. So yeah, not one of his better performances for me. Joe Willock, he gets a 6. Up front, as that main striker, it was Alexandre Lacazette. And I'll tell you something, that goal got him out of a poor player ratings, to be honest. Overall, his night was not great. Missed an absolute sitter in the first half. You should be scoring that. Doesn't matter whether it was on your weaker foot. It's a simple tap-in, to be quite honest, and he needs to be taking those chances. Overall performance was not great. Even his hold-up play was not up to the standards that he normally sets. And there was points in that game where I was thinking, what is going on? Move Oba up front, take Lacazette off and bring Pepe on. And I think the majority of Arsenal fans were thinking the same. It just was not happening. But when he needed to be in the right place at the right time, he was, and he scored. Should have had a second after, but the fact that he got the match winner as well, I'm going to give Alexandre Lacazette a 7 for last night. And I think that's a decent rating given that his overall performance was not great, but he did get the winning goal. In terms of the substitutes, no one was really on the pitch for a long period of time, to be honest. Dani Ceballos had the longest, Nicolas Pepe, and then Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So I'll give them straight 5s because they weren't really on there for a long time to affect the game or anything else. Manager's rating, Mikel Arteta, I will give him a 7. Based on the fact that he went with a very strong lineup, it's very evident that he's taking this competition serious and everything else. But the one thing that I don't like is some of the square pegs round holes. I don't want to see Sokratis on the right-hand side. I don't want to see Aubameyang on the right-hand side. So those were the only little faults that I would pick out and just say that, you know, maybe play natural players in those positions. But we got the job done. He got the win. So I'll give Mikel Arteta a 7. So there we go. That is it. That is the player ratings. And yeah, we got the victory. And that is the most important thing. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. There will be a preview to the Everton game on Sunday. I'll be bringing that one out on Saturday. There's going to be some episodes from DTSC coming up. A couple of games that we've recently played. They're near completion with their editing, and those will be out as well. So keep an eye out on those. There will be player ratings for the Everton game. Hopefully I'm smiling. Hopefully I'm happy because it's a big game. Massive, massive game. And we've got to start climbing up that table in the Premier League. And Everton are one of those sides above us, so we're going to have to overtake them. So we will wait and see. Like I said, if you're new around here, hit the subscribe button. Smash a like on this video. And I will see you lot soon. I'm out of here.